Not long after, Yangsheng Base, which also had a fleet, arrived from another direction. The same unfolding truth awaited them. After they entered Zhang Yi's effective shooting range, Zhang Yi's hunting officially began. But this time with experience, he also learned a lesson. Blow out the car's tires first, then shoot the driver. As several cars broke down one after another, the same commotion occurred in the convoy at Yangsheng Base. Their first move was to rely on their cars to find the snipers lurking in the dark. Even the scripts are exactly the same. Without Wei Dinghai's reminder, the tactics of this encounter would not be much different. After all, they believed that they had the strength in numbers and sophisticated weapons, so they could not retreat immediately after being sniped. Instead, they thought of killing the snipers in the dark. In the convoy, a white shadow suddenly flashed to the front. A bullet hit the front of the convoy, and the white figure actually faced it directly. Fires mingled in midair, and the bullet fired by Zhang Yi was directly deflected. But the white shadow was also shaken back several steps. "Oh, finally a decent guy showed up?" A smile appeared on Zhang Yi's lips. He saw the person's appearance clearly. He is a tall and thin man with a head like a wolf and a layer of silver-gray hair on his body. This is an orc-type mutant. No wonder he has such high speed and strength and can catch the bullets shot by Zhang Yi. When Zhang Yi discovered him, he also saw Zhang Yi. Wolf eyes can always see things that human eyes cannot. Is it such a long distance? Mad Wolf Liu Xian's pupils shrink sharply, and even he felt that it was very difficult. With his skill and speed, if it was one-on-one, he could reach the opponent and fight within tens of seconds. But now, the opponent is in the shelter, and he cannot attack rashly. Before he could think clearly, Zhang Yi's bullet came again. Liu Xian bared his sharp fangs and looked like a ghost, using his body to block bullets. Zhang Yi took his time and continued to attack. Anyway, all he consumes are bullets and some supernatural powers, and Liu Xian may die if he makes one mistake. He likes to do this kind of business that is sure to make a profit without losing any money. One shot, two shots, then three shots. Mad Wolf Liu Xian finally felt the difficulty, and his sharp claws began to tremble. Even if he is a powerful orc-type mutant, the load he needs to deflect 3 heavy sniper bullets in a row is really too much for him. However, as he trembled backwards, he did not show any anger. Instead, he raised the corners of his mouth. Soldier said, "Preparations are complete." At this moment, the window of an armored vehicle in the convoy was opened, and a dark green gun barrel was poked out of it. The artillerymen inside aimed at Zhang Yi's direction, and a cannon roared out of the barrel, flying close to Zhang Yi a moment later. Zhang Yi frowned slightly. The other party carried heavy firearms, which is indeed interesting. But the cannons seemed to submerge into the water, destroying no one or destroying any buildings. He just disappeared behind the dimensional gate, very calmly. The artillerymen on the car were waiting expectantly for the familiar explosion to appear. But after waiting for a few seconds, they saw nothing. Dumb bomb? An artilleryman looked puzzled. The next moment, a bullet came, cutting his body in the middle, and he fell heavily into the carriage. A miserable wailing sound sounded from the carriage. Then they roared and prepared to continue firing back. The more you fear death on the battlefield, the easier it is to die. Attack is the best defense. But that is only under the condition that the strength gap between the two sides is not too large. Several more cannons roared towards the attic where Zhang Yi was, but a moment later those shells flew back where they had gone. Not good. Everyone suddenly changed their colors. Their convoy was too dense. If the cannons fell, I don't know how many people would be killed. This time, even Xiao Honglian's expression became serious. Because there is no mutant among them who is good at defense. Mad Wolf Liu Xian roared angrily. His eyes were bloodshot, and his size grew again. It jumped into the air quickly, and even used its own body to change the trajectory of the cannonball. However, the power of artillery shells was not comparable to that of sniper rifle bullets. He tried his best, but only slightly affected the trajectory. Boom! The 4 cannons deviated from their original trajectory and exploded near the convoy, and a snowstorm rose into the sky. The violent tremors caused all the cars to stagger, but fortunately there were no major casualties. However, Liu Xian himself was knocked away, and a stream of blood spilled from his mouth. Xiao Hong raised her eyebrows while practicing her sword and said decisively, "Retreat!" In the convoy at Yangsheng Base, many soldiers threw smoke bombs. Soon thick smoke billowed out, obscuring the surrounding view. Zhang Yi hummed a song and then started shooting casually. The losses at Yangsheng Base were worse than those at Chaoyu Base, because Zhang Yi damaged the tires and tracks of several vehicles from the beginning, making them unable to move. In addition, Yangsheng Base wanted to fight back, so a lot of time was wasted in the middle. During this time, Zhang Yi wounded Liu Xian and killed more than 40 soldiers. But even if the loss was not small, Xiao Honglian would never choose to attack the shelter. Like Chaoyu Base, they cannot devote all their efforts to the attack alone. Since it is a joint attack by 4 families, it must be equally affected. Each family must contribute, and each family must also bear the firepower of the shelter. After leaving behind 4 cars and more than 40 lives, Yangsheng Base retreated to a safe area. A sniper with super powerful abilities, and the opponent also has the ability to rebound artillery attacks. I can't be sure whether it is the ability of 1 person or 2 people. But these 2 abilities, all of them, are terrifying. Xiao Honglian had a very serious expression on his face. The loss of some vehicles and ordinary soldiers is not the most terrible thing. The scariest thing is not knowing the strength of the other party. But once they met, Zhang Yi gave them all a huge shock. The elite troops of such a huge Yangsheng base were beaten to the point where they were unable to fight back and had no choice but to retreat. She said leisurely, "Now I finally understand why they can block the Shishan base's month-long attack with only a few people. There are some things she cannot say in front of her subordinates. But according to her judgment, the ability of the sniper in the shelter is definitely not inferior to hers." Zhuge Qingting came to Xiao Honglian's car and asked for instructions. "Chief, what should we do next? Although a frontal attack can force a breakthrough, we are still 7 kilometers away from Yunke Manor. We have no effective means to stop us along the way. If the opponent's sniper attack can rebound, the firearms and artillery will not be able to be used easily." Xiao Honglian glanced at him. Her eyes were calm, and she was not worried. "What are you afraid of? They only have a few mutants, and it is impossible to sustain a long-term battle. Our 4 forces combined have thousands of warriors. Even a war of attrition can bring them down. But let's not move forward. It's best to let the other ones go over first to attract the sniper's firepower and consume his abilities." Zhuge Qingting nodded and took the order to let everyone rest first. But Xiao Honglian picked up the satellite phone and called Wei Dinghai at Chaoyu Base. "Hey, Wei Dinghai, where are you now?"